Hi everyone, my name's Hannah and welcome back to Therapy Tip Tuesday. I'm here in my kitchen today because we are going to be making chocolate milk. So working on recipes of any sort is really fun in incorporating life skills and daily functioning language, as well as sequencing and verbs. So today I'm going to walk you through how I make chocolate milk and how to target speech and language goals while working on a recipe. And the recipe that you work on doesn't have to be chocolate milk. It can be something like lemonade or peanut butter and jelly, or more complex like cookies, brownies, or any sort of sandwich or meal that you like to make with your family. I just chose chocolate milk because it's very simple, but you can also target a lot of speech and language goals. So the first step you need is your recipe. So here I have the things that we will need today for our recipe. We need milk, a cup, chocolate syrup, and a spoon. And I also like to have a straw. So the first thing I would do with the person I'm working with is make sure that we're able to identify all of our ingredients. So here I have my milk, I have my cup, my chocolate syrup, and my spoon. Now the next step is to go over the steps of the recipe. When working with students on this activity, I like to walk them through the recipe first, and then we can work on sequencing by having them put the steps all together before we make the food. So here you can see I have a recipe where first we're going to pour the milk into the cup, then we pour the chocolate syrup into the cup with the milk, then we mix, and then we get to drink. So the verbs that we're targeting here are pour, mix, and drink. And those are really important verbs that we use in everyday life that might be harder to target in the therapy room, which is why functional activities like this are so important. So, like I said, now we're going to take the recipe, and I cut it up here, and we're going to organize it and sequence it into the proper steps. So do you guys remember the steps? So first, we have to pour the milk into the cup. So let's do that first. So I'm going to take my milk, I'm going to open my milk, and then I'm going to pour it into my cup. All right, now the next step. The next step was to pour the chocolate syrup into the cup. So again, I'm working on those verbs. Open. And now we're going to pour our chocolate syrup into the cup and squeeze it so we can get as much syrup as we want. All right, now let's find our next step. Our next step was to mix up the chocolate milk. So here we're going to need our spoon, and we're going to mix our milk until it's all chocolatey. That should be good. And our final step, the best step, is to drink and enjoy. So like I said, I like to use a straw. So now we're going to drink. So good. So with that small, quick, very easy activity, we targeted so many things. We looked at the ingredients list, so the vocabulary to create what we were making, sequencing, the steps on how to create this recipe. Now this recipe only had 4 very simple steps, but depending on who you're working with, you can always make the recipe more complex. You can make a more complex food. You can even, when you're working with more complex ingredients, then you're working on measurements and making sure you have the right amount of everything. This is pretty simple where you can just, pour and mix and it'll still come out delicious. So we worked on sequencing, and then we worked on our verbs. So as you saw, when I was opening the milk, I was always saying open. When we're pouring, when we're mixing, I'm enunciating those things so that when I'm working with the person that's working on their speech and language goals, they can hear me use the verbs, and they can also practice the verbs themselves. So I hope you enjoyed this Therapy Tip Tuesday, and I hope you enjoy making chocolate milk with you and your family. Bye!